Hello, recappers. Today's movie starts during the COVID-19 outbreak. Daniel, a lonely man, wants to find love, but is always rejected. This makes him angry, and he starts doing terrible things. He spends his time alone in his apartment, watching TV, cooking, and driving his van. One day, he changes the inside of his van and sets up a camera to film his encounters with women. While driving, he calls himself a good man and says everything is beautiful if seen the right way. He watches an older woman in a parking lot but gets annoyed when he sees a confident man nearby. Later, he tries to help a woman with her groceries, but she refuses and quickly leaves. This frustrates him, and he blames women for rejecting him. Daniel then buys duct tape, chains, and a shovel. He edits his film, saying it's about stopping the mistreatment he has suffered. His mother, Jeanette, calls to check on him and asks if he is taking his medication. When she visits him, he refuses to let her in and even points a gun at her through the door, but she leaves before he shoots. Daniel continues working on his van, adding a bed, and imagining having a woman there. That night, he digs a fire pit and sits with his gun, thinking about how much he hates women, believing they only want rich and handsome men. The next morning, Daniel practices aiming his gun at an imaginary target, hurling curses as he does so. Later that day, he returns to the parking lot, where he sees a man loading groceries into his car, which annoys him. However, his frustration fades when he spots a woman, and he begins to fantasize about her. He follows her home, muttering about his wicked plans when the opportunity arises. But when her husband appears, Daniel grows displeased, convinced that he could make her happier than her spouse. Frustrated by the failed encounter, he angrily drives home. The following day, he watches a family exit a store, showing interest in the wife but resenting her husband. Suddenly, he notices Madison Richards, a woman in a floral dress, helping her younger brother into a car. Enchanted by her, he follows her home, calmly and methodically filming her every movement. He lingers outside her house with unwavering patience, determined to learn more about her. Ultimately, he decides to stay overnight for a chance to see her again. The next day, he becomes distressed when he finds her car missing from the garage. He waits until midnight, and when she finally returns, he immediately gets out of his van and attacks her from behind. He shoves her inside, restrains her with chains, and covers her mouth with duct tape to muffle her screams. Daniel drives back to the secluded area where he previously spent the night. Despite Madison's pitiful state, he continues filming her, finding satisfaction in her suffering. Before going to sleep, he tries to initiate a conversation, but Madison, gripped by fear, faces away from him. He reassures her that he means no harm, and expresses excitement about spending time together. The next morning, Daniel makes breakfast and removes the tape from Madison's mouth. She screams for help, and he panics, slams the van door, and walks away. Later, he apologizes and says he cannot control his emotions and will never change. Madison is kept chained and forced to use the bathroom outside. Daniel pretends not to look, but sometimes does. He touches her without consent and calls her beautiful, but shows no emotion. At night, he makes her sit with him by the fire and says she is his soulmate. The next day, after washing her, Daniel loses control and attacks her. Madison tries to fight but fails and breaks down crying. Later, Daniel tells her about his sad childhood and how lonely he feels. Madison listens and shares her own pain, saying she is not ready to die because she has not lived yet. That night, Daniel attacks her again. He believes she would have ignored him if they met normally. The next day, he takes her to his house and chains her in his room, saying he loves her. Madison is too weak to respond. That night, she tries to get up quietly. Daniel follows her to the bathroom and later joins her in the shower. When Madison hugs him back, he feels happy and hopeful. Shortly after, Daniel focuses the camera on Madison while she sits on the bed, demanding that they start over. He asks for her name, and when she tells him, he adds it to the credit scene of the film he's editing. When Madison returns the question, he simply replies that he's just Daniel, leaving his surname a mystery to her. He then asks about the things she enjoys for fun. Madison smiles at the thought and reveals that she takes care of her family, especially her younger brother. Driven by curiosity, she asks why he's constantly filming, to which Daniel simply responds that he's an artist. She tries to find out why he chose her, but he scolds her and warns her to be cautious with her questions. After a long silence, she asks if he thinks the world is ending, just to break the awkward tension. He responds that if that time comes, he wants to witness everyone, including his family, perish. In the middle of Daniel's rant, an unexpected phone call interrupts. Seeing an opportunity to ask for help, Madison immediately springs from the bed to reach for the phone. Unfortunately, Daniel is faster. He grabs her by the neck and slams her against the wall. Before leaving the room, he angrily warns her never to do it again. As soon as he answers the call, Madison screams for help. Overcome with rage, Daniel rushes back and punishes her. Afraid that someone might discover his secret, he covers the windows with dark curtains. Later, Daniel returns and sees Madison shaking with fear. He feels guilty, touches her gently, and apologizes, promising it will never happen again. Then he locks her in the room and leaves, secretly recording her to watch how she reacts when he is gone. When Madison hears him leave, she removes the tape and screams for help, but he comes back before anyone hears her. Daniel brings a paper bag and says it is a special gift. Madison is not happy, but he orders her to wear it and reminds her that no one can hear her screams. He later turns on red lights, plays music, and tells Madison to come out wearing the undergarments. He controls her movements as she obeys him. Later, Daniel edits the videos of Madison dancing for his film. While cooking, he hears her calling and runs to the room. Madison says she wants to help him cook. As they sit together on the kitchen floor, savoring their meal, Daniel reveals that his mother's cooking was terrible, so he often ate out. In contrast, Madison shares that she learned to cook to take care of her mother and younger brother. Suddenly, she asks Daniel about his motives for filming everything. He explains that he feels obligated to show society the reality of human experience. Intrigued, Madison expresses her desire to watch his film, and a delighted Daniel allows her to view his project, Beautiful Friend. Later, he confesses that he used to work as a filmmaker, but his projects never garnered any interest, much to his frustration. Back in the bedroom, Daniel asks Madison if she knows anything about trauma bonding. When she says she doesn't, he explains that it's the message of his film and what they're experiencing now. Madison wakes up to find Daniel unlocking her chains, giving her a small hope that he trusts her. But he's only letting her use the bathroom. While she bathes, Daniel tells her he can take care of her if she lets him. Later, they play a card game together. Madison acts more relaxed, and they start to bond. At one point, Daniel asks if he can kiss her, admitting he has never done it before. When she stays quiet, he says they don't have to if she doesn't want to. After a moment, Madison leans in and kisses him. Overcome with emotion, Daniel gives in to his desire, and they become intimate. Afterward, Daniel tells her he loves her, and Madison says she feels the same way. She asks him to buy her makeup because she doesn't feel pretty. Daniel tells her she is perfect, but later decides to buy it for her, making her happy. The next morning, before leaving for the store, Daniel chains Madison up again and kisses her like a loving boyfriend. The moment he leaves, Madison wipes her mouth and desperately tries to break free, unaware that Daniel has set up a camera to watch her. On the road, Daniel believes he has finally found the woman meant for him. But back home, Madison loses hope when she fails to escape. When Daniel returns, she sits still on the bed, pretending to obey. But after watching the camera footage, he sees her trying to escape. Furious, he films her misery, telling her that everything was meant to be and that she belongs with him. With a cold tone, he asks if she understands. Feeling defeated, Madison weakly nods. Soon after, Daniel's mother, Jeanette, knocks on the door. Madison screams for help, but Daniel quickly covers her mouth with duct tape before answering. Days later, Daniel finishes his film and admires his work. But Madison's muffled cries annoy him, so he gets up, ready to punish her. And that's how our story ends. What did you think about the ending? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next breakdown.